Welcome back. Yeah, football season is here. Steelers report on Thursday, and then they get to it, trying to get back to the AFC Championship, one they hope will be in Pittsburgh this year, and they can go a long way in helping themselves by beating bad teams and also taking care of New England head-to-head, which they'll get the chance in the regular season. Tim Benz, I want to ask you about Le'Veon Bell. First and foremost, did he make a mistake by not accepting that long-term offer by the Steelers?
I would have done it. Bully for him if he wants to bet on himself to stay healthy and not have another cataclysmic injury like he did when he got his leg blown up before. I'm of the opinion that if you have that little narrow of a window between what the Steelers are likely to pay you and what you would have likely earned on a third year of a guarantee, and I do have to do air quotes anytime we talk about NFL guaranteed money, but this is a deal that could have and should have gotten done, and I think Le'Veon Bell is hung up on $15 million a year average annual value. I think he rapped about it. I think he decided that he meant it, and I don't know what the big deal is when you look at what he could have been guaranteed over a short term. He's going to get 26 over 2 straight franchise years. Something tells me if the Steelers really did come close to 40 or even 35, that should have been good enough for him to sign.
Got to do it. I think you got to do the deal. If it's there, take the guaranteed money, take the term. You might not like it. Maybe you reevaluate. Maybe you ask for more if you badly outplay that contract. But you have you're in a position to not play on a one-year deal. To me, you have to find a way to not play on a one-year deal. Bell this season, then you don't even get the franchise tag next year.
Yeah, and I tend to agree with everybody else that this is, if it were me, I would have jumped all over it and taken the guaranteed money over a few years. But look, Le'Veon Bell is the most dynamic guy, the most dynamic running back, certainly, in the league right now. He can go out and put up 2,400 yards next year, and I don't think it would surprise anyone. That's combined on the ground and through the air. And that kind of multifaceted talent. It's what he told Ike Taylor of NFL Network. He wants to be paid like the #1 running back and the #2 wide receiver.
But it doesn't work that way.
Well, in his eyes, he believes it should.
It better not work this way. It better not work that way this year when they got Bryant back and they drafted a second-round wide receiver in Smith-Schuster. I hope his numbers go down.
So we don't want to throw to Le'Veon Bell anymore, though?
Well, not anymore. I didn't say anymore, but he doesn't have to be relied on as the second or third best receiving option.
That's part of his job.
I think as long as you're utilizing Le'Veon Bell that way, it's what makes him as effective as a runner as he is, because he is multidimensional, because you can set him up in the backfield or split him out. I understand. To your point, Tim, yeah, Bryant is back. We've got Smith-Schuster. We'll see if Sammy Coates' fingers still all point in the same direction. It'd be great if you've got all those weapons available to you and you don't have to use Bell if you don't want to. But he's betting on himself and betting on the fact that he can do enough with the football in his hands, whether it be catching it or running with it, that he can make himself even more valuable. To Pom's point earlier, bully on him if he wants to bet on himself. But me personally, would have taken the money.
I like Le'Veon Bell. I think he's an incredible football player. I actually think he's really, really easy to deal with from a media standpoint. But he's crazy if he thinks somebody in the NFL is going to pay him the salary of a #1 running back and a top-flight wide receiver all rolled into one. That doesn't happen.
No, it doesn't happen. That's why it won't happen here. And, he better not get injured. Let's talk about another guy who could be a holdout. Bell may not show up, and I don't think it's a big deal. He's in ready shape. But Alejandro Villanueva, Tim did the Steelers a favor, actually. He showed up for all those offseason workouts. He didn't have to. He didn't have a contract. Still does not have a contract as an exclusive rights guy. What's he to do? He doesn't have any leverage here. Does he show up? What will the Steelers do? Do they want him over this guy they drafted last year in Gerald Watkins?
Gerald Hawkins, yeah, and you got Hubbard there that can play a lot at various positions. I'm of the opinion that this is a harder sell on himself in Villanueva to keep himself away from camp than it is for Bell. There's talent behind Le'Veon Bell. Sure, they got James Conner and Niall Davis, but no one's taken his job. I think of the 5 offensive linemen that the Steelers have, Al Villanueva is the 5th best. And I think they like Hawkins more than what we know about. And I wouldn't be the least bit surprised that if they saw no Villanueva, they would see that as an opportunity to work him in or take a look at some other tackles at that left tackle position. If they have to go big in free agency, maybe go big for a more established guy than Villanueva. The one thing that rubbed me the wrong way about what Villanueva said over these last couple of weeks was, I've been taking orders my whole life. I've got a good agent. He'll tell me what to do. Come on, Al. I get the whole soldier thing and the analogy that you're drawing, but that's ridiculous. It's not the same thing, and you know it.
Well, I think my concern here, guys, is that if he's not in camp to start, or even if he does miss a preseason game or two. Last year, the success of the Steelers' offensive line was predicated upon the fact that all 5 guys were working together more often than not. 14 of the 19 games they played, they had the same starting 5 along the offensive line. Very few man games missed. The year before, we didn't have Pouncey for a great length of time. We didn't have cohesion along the offensive front, and they weren't nearly as good. They're now one of the best offensive lines in the NFL because they've been working together. And whether it's Villanueva or Hawkins or whoever the left tackle may be, I want this unit to come into camp together. I want them to work together. I want them to gel. You've got so much already built on the fact that they've got all that time spent together. I don't want that to start to erode because I think it's part of why they've played so well over the last 16 to 19 games.
Couple quick things here from me. I see no way that Chris Hubbard or Gerald Hawkins can take Alejandro Villanueva's job. For one, the guy has made huge strides so far in his NFL career. He's not a Pro Bowl caliber left tackle. I get that. But he's made a lot of improvement. He wasn't even a tackle for most of his life. And 2, I also think the offensive linemen the Steelers do have, I'm talking about Marquise Pouncey, David DeCastro, the culture that they have established, there's no way those guys are going to let a guy like Villanueva hold out and stay home. He can be a little bit upset at his contract. He can have discussions with the Steelers. I don't think there's any way that the culture of that group is going to allow Villanueva to stay home while the rest of those guys are working.
The only thing about him, he's 28. He's not like a young kid coming out of this. That may also, factor into what they think long term. We're due for a break. We have one more Steeler topic coming up later in the program, but next up, some hockey talk. Penguins in the offseason still looking at some issues with regard to contracts and who may be here, who not. We'll talk about that when we come back right here on the #1 Cochran Sports Showdown.